higher than the Eiffel Tower. In terms of its construction, you might notice the wonderful sail design there. Now that's actually the world's largest piece of fabric.
Craig, this is not what it's about.
Is this not what we're doing?
No.
What are we doing again?
It's a triathlon vlog.
Oh, sorry, triathlon. Hello there and welcome to the first ever TeamFBiL vlog. Now, what this vlog is all about is following the journeys of 5 men of varying ages, also varying waistlines as well, as we prepare on our journey towards our next full distance triathlon. For some of us, it's our next one. For a couple of members of the group, it will be their very first one indeed. So please follow along with us on our journey, see what we get up to. Now, for those people at home wondering what on earth a full distance triathlon is, that compromises a 3.8 kilometre swim, or 2.4 miles, a 180 kilometre bike ride, or about 112 miles, and to finish that off with a full marathon of 42 kilometres, or 26 miles. We all live and based out here in the wonderful city of Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. Feel free to follow our journey, see how we cope with the wonderful weather / heat out here, also the dust storms and the desert sandstorms, etc. It hopefully will be a fun journey along the way. So whether you're an amateur at home thinking about getting into the world of triathlon, maybe you're an age grouper like us, or even a professional triathlete wondering what it's like to live and work and train out in Dubai, please do follow and hopefully you gain some tips and maybe you can share some with us along the way. Coming up in this very first episode, I will be introducing the team to you all, the team members of FBiL. We'll also be sharing with you our essential piece of triathlon equipment, that little piece of equipment that we really cannot live without. Also to finish, we will be sharing our race experiences from this year's Ironman 70.3 Dubai. So introducing the team, we start with the legendary Mr. Daniel Walker. Danny is the elder statesman of the group and comes from a very strong swimming background with much experience in triathlon. Then we move to the young pretender, Mr. George Hellier, who's new to triathlon. Bit of a pretty boy, but to be fair, he is quite quick. And joining him new to the team this year is Mr. Ryan Wolf. Comes from a very strong running background and he's always looking to try and beat George at the next event. Next is the legendary Broomy, another elder statesman of the group with much experience travelling around the world, taking part in a variety of different triathlons. And finally, it is the amazing Mr. Andy Price himself. Yes, we need to have words about this dreadful kit we're wearing here, but overall a superb athlete with much experience.
Training is, of course, an essential part of completing an Ironman. In this section, we'll be sharing our training in and around the city of Dubai. We will be showing you the different training we do, not just to reach our goals, but to keep ourselves sane with the amount you have to do for long distance triathlon. Now, we do track our training and our weapon of choice, our app that we use is Strava. Now, this is a free app that you can track all of your training, your swimming, your biking, your running. You can pay a subscription as well for more analytics, and we will be using this to show you where we complete our training, how long we do our training, and specifically if we're getting fitter or not.
It's day after race day, sprint triathlon yesterday. Normally wouldn't do anything today, but big advantage of being in a group is you often encourage others to do things you maybe necessarily wouldn't do. So we're actually going to meet a couple of the boys and go and do maybe, I don't know, 55, 60k recovery ride, so hopefully nice and slow today, just get the legs moving. It is about 6:20 here in Dubai. Sun's just come up, weather's looking quite nice. I'm going to take the roadie out, and one advantage, a great advantage of where I live in particular, I am less than 5 minutes away from the quite famous Al Qudra cycling track. So I'm going to pop up there and show you what that's all about. So Wolfie has just arrived on his lovely armchair road machine. Just want to point out some fantastic bar tape to help you go a little bit faster.
Well, you see, Broom, it's all about losing weight or racing.
So Pricey is a speed play kind of man, and if anybody out there is also a speed play, there is maybe some vital information that you might need to know or consider. Pricey?
Yeah, these are speed play, so both sides. Got them on my new Cervelo, and on my tri bike I've got some speed plays as well. I couldn't.
Do they differ at all, Pricey?
Yes, they do differ.
Right.
I didn't know that. In each episode, we're going to review products. Now, we will try and tell you why we love these products, what can be improved, whether they're value for money, and whether the product is an essential triathlon kit. And we'll give you the links of where you can purchase these items as well. In this episode, we have asked the members of FBIL what is their essential piece of triathlon kit. How much does it cost? Is it value for money? And whether you need it to start off in triathlon.
Okay, so I've been asked to give you my personal triathlon essential bit of kit. I'm actually going to give two. They work together, so I'm going to class them as one. However, I come from a running background, so swimming is probably my weakest of the three, and so I want to try and make that swim as easy as possible. So my essential bit of kit are these goggles. Okay, so these are the Zog Predator Flex Polaroid goggles. There are different types of Predator Zogs that you can buy, but these are the ones I got online for a good deal. Obviously, I swim in Dubai mostly. Very sunny in the mornings, so ideal for that because you can swim at night, in the day, in the swimming pool, and you only need one pair of goggles, so they are brilliant. I've never had any leakage. Great strap on them, really sturdy. Make sure I look after them, but they are ideal. Probably the best goggles that I've had. They come in this cool little case here that obviously to look after them, which is ideal. Obviously we like to look after our equipment. And then my second thing that I'd like to share is this little thing. This looks like a highlighter. It is anti-fog from Decathlon. It was about £5. Really, really useful. Any goggle I've ever had, I have had bad fog when I started swimming. So put this on every single time that I swim just to make sure and never have any problems.
Okie dokie, so I've been asked to review an essential piece of triathlon kit. Essential, that could mean a lot of things, and it was a difficult one to think of, but for me personally, I'm going for this little gizmo here. Let me take it away from its charging dock. This is, not sure if I can say this, but I'm going to say it anyway, a Sony Walkman portable earphones, but in particular you can wear them to swim with. Now, these are not particularly new. I've probably had these at least 10 years now, if I'm being honest with you. For many of you in the world of triathlon like myself, I actually hate the swim part. It's not that I can't swim, it's more of a point of, I find it really, really boring to swim. And these are an absolute lifesaver. Sound quality probably isn't amazing. I'm not really into sound quality myself. There are much newer versions out there now on the market. There's bone conducting earphones, etc. But these simply slip straight into the ears. I go by my head, pop them in, like so. For me, there's an added advantage. They act like earplugs when I'm swimming, which I use anyway. And ultimately, I can listen to music underneath the water. Like I say, not amazing quality, But if you're swimming up and down the pool all day long, for me, this is a really bit of essential kit that helps to keep you motivated.
Okay, the best bit of equipment that I have bought by a mile since starting triathlon is my Garmin Vector Dual pedals. They are absolutely fantastic for training, but I find them really, really useful in racing as well. In the shorter distance triathlons, they may not be as important, but for the longer distance, like the half Ironman and the full Ironman, I think they're super important. The reason why they're really good is because they allow me to pace my race perfectly, which means that I know that on the bike, I'm pacing as evenly as I possibly can, which then helps me to have a really good run as well.
As part of our review on kit and equipment, we've been asked one big question. What is the best piece of kit or equipment that we have purchased? I've gone for a piece of kit that has improved my performance in the water significantly. It's a wetsuit that is used by Javier Gomez, Lucy Charles Barkley, Flora Duffy, to name a few. And in particular, the Rocker Maverick Elite 2. Unfortunately, this one has now discontinued, but if you head over to rocker.com, you can see their new full range of Maverick wetsuits, and of course they go from beginner through to advanced. My teammates tell me that I'm quite good at swimming. Actually, I'm not too bad. I would say just above average, which is important. Thank you, Mark Lewis, for that tagline. This wetsuit works for me. It has a buoyancy ratio of 1:3:5. The extra buoyancy in the leg area, just in case you have sinking legs. It has a mid-range buoyancy here to keep your body level in the water. But the thing that works for me is that we have a nice thin material, a buoyancy of 1 around the shoulders. Of course, this increases flexibility, increases your range of motion, which can in turn increase your arm turnover. It has a low cut neckline here to help with the flexibility around the shoulder, but also to prevent any sort of chafing. This has had a big impact on my performances in the water, taking time off all my swim distances. It's comfortable. Of course, it has the added advantage of great flexibility in the shoulders. It looks good, and it's my piece of equipment that's been my best buy.
Of course, to complete an Ironman requires a huge amount of training, but that doesn't mean that you can't do races along the way. In each episode, we will be reviewing and commentating on some of the races that we have completed. Recently, all 5 members of the team competed in the Ironman 70.3 in Dubai. This is a huge race in the region, in fact the pinnacle of racing in the Middle East. The Ironman 70.3 Dubai was a little bit different this year because of the pandemic. It had been postponed until March, usually happens in January, so really had a different dimension on it this year with the heat creeping up to around about 35. TeamFBiL did a different challenge this time. Okay, let's have a quick look at the Ironman 70.3 Dubai course. First of all, obviously you start off with the swim. This is a 1.9 kilometre swim. Okay, it's changed in recent years and it goes straight out and back from Jumeirah Beach. After this, we have a very flat 90 kilometre bike course, a straight up and back from the busy beach area out in towards the desert towards the Al Quadra cycling track that FBL use a lot for cycle training. You'll see lots of that, and then straight back towards the iconic Burj Al Arab at Jumeirah Beach. Once the bike course is complete, it's on to the half marathon distance along Jumeirah Beach in what I would say this year was blistering hot conditions for all of the athletes. Many would say completing any distance triathlon is hard enough, and they would be right, and really only competing and challenging yourself. But inevitably, when a group of athletes get together, there is always going to be an element of competition. Well, there especially was at this year's Dubai 70.3. George and Wolfie, both relatively new to triathlon, and where I say very young, took on the elderly statesman of the team, myself, Craig and Danny, and we decided to team up in a relay team participating in what we consider to be our best disciplines. Danny on the swim, Craig on the bike leg, and myself finishing up on the run. So surely the older men with a combined age of 132, an average age of 44, can beat the young whippersnappers. Well, let's see how we got on. Okay, so an old injury has reappeared, so Pricey is onto the bike and Craig has swapped to the run. Let's hear from George how the 70.3 went.
It was a beautiful, fast, flat swim where George, Wolfie and Team FBIL were all more or less neck and neck. Onto the bike, the FBIL took the lead slightly. 3 decent bike performances with all members averaging above 35 kilometres an hour. Shout out to Andy Price, who had a PB of 37.5 kilometres an hour. Onto the blistering run. Team FBIL and George were neck and neck, with Wolfie only minutes behind. Team FBIL went out of the blocks flying. George maintained a steady pace but cramped up in both quads at 2 kilometres and feared his race was over. Wolfie maintained a great pace on the run but fell just shy of catching Team FBIL. George finished 8 minutes in front with a time of 5 hours and 1 minute. Team FBIL 5 hours and 8 minutes and Wolfie 5 hours and 9 minutes. Cracking race had by all, lots of good fun, and we're already looking forward to next year.
Let's be honest, we didn't manage to beat the 2 young whippersnappers in the group. We did manage to beat Wolfie, but George, fair play to the young lad. He put in a 5:01 in his first ever 70.3 is a fantastic achievement. To review, probably myself and Andy changing disciplines only 10 days out from the race was not the greatest thing we've ever done. But unfortunately, injuries, these things happen, and it is a team event and we'd like to work as a team, so it was better to make that change and get the race done. From my point of view, the run, I got to hold my hands up. Honestly, I let the team down slightly, running a 2:03 half marathon. In my defence, it was an extremely hot day, and something I've experienced for the first time doing a team event, having to stand in that pen all morning from the swim, seeing the cyclists. For me, as soon as I got the okay to actually start running, I clearly went out far too quick. But all excuses aside, congratulations to George. Also congratulations to Wolfie. A 5:09 in your very first 70.3 is also a tremendous achievement. And you heard it here first that I will be back next year doing it individually, and Mr. Hellier, you will be beat.
Okay, that's it for the first episode. We really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give us a like. In the next episode, we will be reviewing the new Adidas carbon plate trainers and also full coverage of the Dera Islands Triathlon, which the full team were participating in. If you want to follow along with us, you can do on Twitter and Instagram, and it'd be great if you could press that subscribe button.